too.
Yeah, that should be, because I think you'll get the audio faster on Zoom than you will
Okay.
when you get it over the stream. So that's fine. Did you have any particular questions or anything, or are you just helping
Well,
me out?
no, I just wanted to know if why is this COVID-19 virus not morphing like the previous coronaviruses? Why is it not changing as much?
So that's the question that and thank you for participating so well in the Zoom stream. Clearly, Anne already knows what she's doing. She's probably been on many Zoom meetings before. But essentially, for those of you who are playing Zoom for the first time, if you ask your question and then mute yourself again, that makes it much easier for me to answer, because there won't be any background noise from your own channel. That was what I was getting at with Alina Chan's paper and with Petrovsky's paper and with other papers that have come out, including the Bolanos lab from UCL's, where he also looks at sequences and looks at the changes in sequences and how sequences have changed over time. And so for some people, and for many virologists, the rate of change of this virus is not that significant, in the sense of they don't attribute any significance to the fact that it's not changing very much. But the virologists that are being honest about it, including Petrovsky and Chan and the virologist in Norway, among others, are pointing out that we have not been able to ascribe a similar level of stability to any virus previously discovered. In other words, only very nasty viruses like the polio virus, for example, are so stable in sequence and so stable over decades. Furthermore, from a pure biological perspective, it is almost certain that a given virus that makes a zoonotic jump into from one species to another will not be ideally adapted for the second species, the jump species, because that's not how affinity works in biology. The idea, for example, would be the odds of you buying one lottery ticket and winning the big prize today, and then having someone telling you this is the plan, you just have to go to the store and buy it and you will win. That's the odds of a virus jumping from, for example, a bat, where it lives pretty well and replicates pretty well, into a human, where it replicates and infects pretty well. That has never happened in history. And all of the things that we've understood from previous viral pandemics and viral outbreaks have belied this problem, have suggested that this is a problem in terms of explaining this. So the stability of it is also creepy from my perspective, and because the stability of it makes it a viable intellectual property target. I would go so far in my conspiracy imagination to say that the SARS original virus in 2003 taught pharmaceutical companies and taught virologists that one of the problems from the perspective of intellectual property, from the perspective of profiting off of health, one of the problems with using a coronavirus, and indeed probably one of the problems with using a coronavirus as an AIDS vaccine, which I referred to earlier in the talk, one of the problems is that coronaviruses are always changing, reappearing and disappearing because of their constant evolution. That's what happened to the original SARS virus. It evolved over time, and some of the evolution resulted in infectious strains that we followed to the end, and many others evolved into strains that disappeared or went endemic but don't hurt us anymore. And part of those lost SARS viruses from 2003 could be part of the inaccuracy of the current SARS test, because there are other viruses that we haven't tracked and aren't aware of and don't hurt us. Probably hundreds of them. So the issue is, and you said it perfectly, that this virus is not changing, but even creepier, A virus that is not changing is the only viable intellectual property target for therapeutics. Are you ready to hear that biological fact again? The only viable intellectual property target for therapeutics is a non-evolving, stable pathogen. Because that's the only one that when you make the product will work, right? It's got to fit all the time. If Velcro was constantly changing, then Velcro would be pretty useless, right? The fact that Velcro stays the same is the reason why you can open it and close it thousands and thousands of times over and over again. But if one side of the Velcro was changing every time you did it, eventually Velcro wouldn't work anymore. That's why a coronavirus vaccine is so unlikely. But spookily, kind of possible in light of the current virus. And that's why you should be skeptical of it. I hope that was kind of an interesting answer to it. It's not perfect, but are there any other questions from Zoom? Go ahead and unmute yourself. Speak. Say hi if you'd like. Otherwise, again, we are almost at the 2-hour mark. It is possible that we can just leave it here. Those of you who I haven't been able to find the chat, which is kind of annoying, and I open it and there it is. Nice job. Oh, okay, right. And the proofreading enzyme is something that I'm also very interesting. I'm not on board with government-paid scientists and labs being able to profit from their government. I really think that this is really true. I think this is one of the issues that is being exploited here, right? The distribution of funds for the development. We have Peter Daszak going online on various interviews and telling us flat to our face, ladies and gentlemen, right to our face, he is telling us that they have lots of sequences that they haven't published. They have lots of samples that they haven't worked through yet. They have lots of research that they haven't published because this is being done on an industrial scale. And when you publish a paper that's talking about one strain of virus combined with another strain of virus, and we made an interesting observation, they took 256 samples from the very first time they went to that mine, and the most important 6 samples from those miners' lungs were never reported. It is most likely, folks, that the virus was cloned, collected, cultured from the bronchial lavages of those 6 COVID-19 patients, COVID-12 patients, and that virus was worked on in parallel with the bat viruses and sequences that they found in the bat feces and other samples that they took over the next few years. And this intellectual property was developed to try and find a stable variant of a relatively harmless SARS-related virus, which could then be used to generate a vaccine and therapeutics which could be expected to have long-lasting usefulness and long-lasting profitability. That's it in a nutshell, folks. That's what I think's happening here. And social media and mainstream media are being weaponized because giant piles of money are influencing them. Giant piles of money have agendas. Giant piles of money are being moved around behind the scenes by the government, being printed and given away by the government. And those strings, those machinations are beyond the scope of this channel. But what this channel is going to do is to help you dispel all of the myths and garbage that is being used to hide the real scam. And so if you tune into this channel, if you watch my live streams, if you watch my bike rides, and most importantly, if you join me every week for this Saturday discussion, I can guarantee you, you will feel more peace of mind in a month. Just like you will feel better if every day from going forward now, you do 10 more sit-ups than you were doing yesterday, and you do 10 more push-ups than you were doing yesterday, and then try to keep consistently adding a little bit to that every week. If you've got to start with 5, start with 5. And so every week we're going to do a little bit more push-ups every day and a little bit more sit-ups every day. We're going to be eating a little bit healthier every day. We're going to be spending a little bit more of our money on our health every day. And every week we're going to get together for this stream and we're going to talk about a different aspect of our biology and how we can take control of our lives and our world and our communities and raise our kids in a world where, sunshine and happiness is what we talk about.